down to City Hall, where Charleston Mayor Joe Riley is prepared to announce where the money from the Hope Fund, more than $2.5 million raised in the aftermath of the Charleston church shooting, how that money will be distributed. He is preparing to announce how that's going to take place. $2.5 million raised in the aftermath of that massacre at Mother Emanuel back in June. That's after burial, funeral, and other costs as well. I believe Mayor Riley's about to make the announcement. Let's listen in.
We met with family members of the victims of the tragedy that broke our hearts and affected citizens greatly in this community, in our country, and around the world. And we met with representatives of survivors to discuss a number of things. But the first was, I just want you to know that I began by continuing to express the community's and my personal, heartfelt sympathy and the assurance that they and their lost loved ones will continue to be in my thoughts and prayers every day, and I know the citizens of this community and beyond. The census act of that night, 17th of June, defied any act of logic or any normal human could reasonably understand. The families of the victims and the survivors gave this community and the world an incalculable, valuable gift of grace and courage, humility and forgiveness. This most tragic event gave this community a forever lasting example of those and other qualities as it did the world. Thursday, the day after the tragedy at Mother Emanuel, in office I told my dear staff that we needed to do something to give the citizens a way to help immediately. Because when we are stricken with grief and our heart is broken for someone, we want to do something. So we created then, that day, the process of creating the Mother Emanuel Hope Fund, so that people could, in that way, act to give a way of showing their love and concern and sharing of the tragedy. Over 6,500 individuals, corporations contributed to the fund. From all of our 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. And contributions also came from Australia, Canada, Ethiopia, and Germany. I want to thank Wells Fargo because they created the opportunity for people to go directly to one of their banks and make a contribution. We received over 4,600 mail contributions, and each of those has, or in the process of receiving, a personal, individual letter from me expressing my and our community's gratitude for their gift. We wanted those who contributed, whether in Australia or Maine, to receive a personal acknowledgement of their generosity on behalf of the family and the citizens of this community. The city staff have spent hundreds of hours of receiving the funds and helping process the letters which were signed by me and in my office. Tremendous work by the city staff, accounting for the funds. And then the day after the fund was created, Laura Evans, a wonderful person and splendid lawyer in Charleston, called the managing partner of her law firm and asked about them making a contribution, and that quickly led to a discussion of arranging pro bono free legal assistance. Laura sent an email to the president of the Charleston County Bar, and that began an amazing process of direct legal assistance to the families and survivors. To date, over 800 hours of legal work has been provided, and we estimate, and you'll hear more about it in a few minutes, the subsequent work of assisting with estate planning and handling, or continuing to handle the legal matters, that 1,500 hours of pro bono legal time will be contributed, a value of about $500,000 from talented, well-trained lawyers working with the families already on a host of challenges and problems, including there was, I think, one will in existence. These were people killed by an event like that. There was not like someone had been ill and they had had reason to develop an estate plan. So worked with families in probating estates, emergency custody petitions for some families, for the minors, probate filings I mentioned, recruitment of special administrators, personal representatives where they were needed, emergency filing of copyrights and privacy protections, meeting with all the families. One family had a lawyer right from the beginning and didn't need any direct assistance. We worked closely with that family's lawyer. They did. Assistance in filing life insurance, ensuring college-age dependents. We had several. One called me that were entering college in August, even different, one per senior year, I was beginning the freshman year, so we worked directly to make sure that tuition payments were made so that no one would miss a year of school, prevented in one instance a repossession of a car, and a host of other things. The fact that we put our arms around these families and in a most thorough and complete way, and to Laura and her colleagues, I just have the most profound admiration and gratitude, and I know that would come from every citizen of our community. The funds held by the city are being deposited in South State Bank in a trust, because that will ensure that the funds received by the families and survivors are tax-free. And there will be lots of subsequent work with all of them. And South State, without pause, said they would do it, and we're working. As Laura will tell you, for this to be done very expeditiously. The funds are being transferred immediately from our city account to the South State. There have been about $2.8 million contributed so far. The city paid every funeral expense and not only paid the funeral expenses, but handled all of that for the family. So family went to funeral home. The funeral home was told to contact the city. So all of those bills and all of that process that's expensive but also wearisome, all of that was handled by the city. All funeral bills have been paid. So today we will announce a distribution of $2,500,000, pursuant to a formula that you'll hear about in just a minute. And we will, and this will be discussed, but the fund will be kept open till the end of the year. We know another $90,000 is coming forward, and probably some other funds. And in handling this money, we all wanted to do the finest job possible, the most equitable, fairest, prudent way to distribute the money. And we were just so blessed to have had wonderful assistance from individuals and their colleagues that you will hear from now. So I'd like to call on Laura Evans to discuss the distribution formula, and then Joe Rice will speak as a founding partner of Motley Rice and one of his colleagues, Senator Marlon Kimpson. So with that, I'll turn it over to Laura.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Charleston County Bar, as Mayor Riley said,
And you just heard Charleston Mayor Joe Riley talk about the process in which they are preparing to announce the distribution of the money that was gathered following the Charleston church shooting, the massacre at Mother Emanuel back in June. News 2's Raymond Owens is there at this announcement today, and he will have more coming up tonight on News 2 at 5 and 6. And of course, we'll have more on our website, counton2.com, and on our social media platforms as well. Stay with us. We're coming right back. You're watching News 2 Midday.